Big bold text appears and reads, Sightless Living. Copyright symbol 2021-2025. Sightless Living. All rights reserved. Then disappears.
Hi, thanks for joining me today. I'm Anita, and this is Sightless Living. Before I get started, I would like to thank all the new subscribers for joining the fam. Welcome. I appreciate your support, and I'd like to thank my loyal watchers. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. Today, I want to show you a little trick. Some may know it, some may not. When you get mail, it's hard to figure out which way is up, which way is down, what's upright and what's upside down, what's sideways, because mail comes in all formats. Sometimes it's sideways, sometimes it's upright, which is also known as portrait, and sideways is also known as landscape. But it's hard to tell when you cannot see it, like me. I usually use some of my scrapbooking tools. When I was younger, I did a lot of scrapbooking, and then that carried on into my job. I had a boss. He had 9 kids. He wanted his kids to have nice presents like they were gift wrapped at a store, which is what I did. And I liked doing that because it gave me a break from my office work. I got to stay in the warehouse all by myself and wrap a ton of gifts. It took a whole week to wrap his gifts. So I enjoyed that, and I still use it today. I can wrap wine bottles that look like they have a jacket on, and I make a collar around their neck, and it's pretty cool, and I put a bow around it. So I do all kinds of creative things like that, and he liked it, so he designated me to do it every year. I did it for 7 years at his office. When I became blind, presses anywhere from $6 and up. Some go as high as $20. So I didn't want to waste my tools, so I started using them with my mail. I'll just pull out this one first. And I got this. Easy to sharpen. The professionals say use aluminum foil, and it doesn't matter what size. So I just keep a little bit in here because the presses I use are not that big. I keep one in my braille bag, which I keep in my purse because when I get business cards or letters or notes or any kind of media, I use it. Here's what it looks like. It's like a rectangle. It has a guide, like right here. It has this guide that sticks out at the bottom. That's where you guide your paper. And that's why I like this brand, because this is accessible or disability friendly. I'm going to take this 4-corner page, and I'm going to take my little cutter here. This I call a corner because it goes into the corner. I take my edge, which is right here. This is a white piece of paper. I have a blue background here so you can see the contrast. And this little tool here is gray. That's what I was told. I'm going to use this piece of paper. I'm going to pretend it is correspondence. As I showed you earlier, it's blank. In the United States, we read from the left to right. I'm showing you your left, your right. So I'm going to take the left. I'm going to stick it in my tool here. I am going to rest it on the corner of the blank paper. There is a guide here which sticks out on both angles. Let me make sure I got it. So I had to turn it around. And then I just stick it in there. This is braille paper. It's pretty thick. And you can hear it. I'm banging it into the tool. It is resting on the guides here. I'm making sure I have it resting on the level without going over. Then I just push it down. You hear it, and I keep it down as I pull my papers out. And then there should be a rounded corner, like so. And there it is. It's a nice, smooth, rounded corner. Now I do have one of these in the slant. This one came in a package with 2. And the same thing with the slant. It has 2 of these that come in the package. It has a smaller slant and a larger slant. But I don't know why I didn't put it back in my container. I'll have to look for it. And that's how you do it. Now, when I have it laying down or is upside down or whatever, and I go to file it, I can just feel my paper. I know that's my left edge that is rounded. The other 3 corners are still square. They have points. I'll be able to tell which is the right side up. Now, if it's upside down, I still know I don't feel any points and no round curves, so I still know my paper's upside down. And if it's even turned around, I can tell because I need the curve in my upper left-hand corner, and the way the paper is now is in the right. So I can always find which way is up. So that's why I started incorporating this into my filing and handling of papers and letters and documents. Now, why did I pick the left? Because there is no rule. You can put it anywhere you want. You can clip your corner on the left, the right, the bottom left, the bottom right, whatever you want to do. There is no rule so far that I know of. But I like it on my left because if it's landscape, it's on the right. If it's portrait, it's on the left. Here is the packaging for the rounded corner. This is made by EK Tools. You get 2 tools inside there, or 2 cutters, and they're both different. I like these tools because they do have the guides, so I think they're more accessible or blind friendly as opposed to some of the other cutters I got in the past. But this one gives you a curve, which I think is more in the center. So when you sit your page in there, it's in the center. This one, when you sit your page in there, it's like at an L angle. So when you stick it in, it goes straight up and it gives you a curve which is different from this one. So I chose this one because I like the way that felt. And that's the packaging. I'm going to flip it over. Hopefully you can scan it with your phone, or you can look online. It's EK, new word, Tools, Tools. And E is as in elephant, K is in kangaroo, and then Tools. Well, I should do it the Army phonetics. Echo, Kilo. And I like them because these are the minis. They are small. You can just press it down. There's a little lock. You just pull it towards the edge and it keeps it flat. I have a little pouch that I keep in my purse and I keep that in there. When you're ready to curve a corner, you just slide it down. It opens for you. And you just slide your card or whatever you're going to round right in there. It presses down easy and it cuts. I have some bigger ones that are hard to cut. Just wanted to show you that. And most of the tools I got, they are by EK Tools because they're mini and I like to walk around with them. Especially if I go to a conference or a meeting, a lot of people are giving out their media and stuff like that. So I like to just round the corners so I know which way is up. Nowadays we have QR codes I don't know if it's blind friendly yet. The last time I checked, it wasn't for me.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share.
You can pick up these little tools in any craft store. I happened to get these from AC Moore many moons ago. I think that was a better store. I recently went to a local store to see if they had these, and they didn't have them. They didn't even know what I was talking about. Hi, I'm here in Michael's, which is a craft store. This store actually used to be AC Moore, and they went out of business and Michael's took over. They used to have all the paper punches you could desire. And now I come here because I wanted to show you what was available. They have nothing. I figured a craft store would be dead on, but unfortunately, which is typical of my area, they have nothing. That store was Michael's. I don't know if you have a large Michael's around you, you may want to look into, but I find these very handy. When people give me their business card, I'll have them give it to me, indicate which is the right side up, and then I'll go to the corner I want and I'll press it and round the corner. If I have my slant one, then I'll slant the corner. But whichever one you choose, I keep them all the same. I got kind of tired of the slanted because when I first got it, everything was slanted. And I like the rounded corner. It's gentler on the finger. I then went to Walmart to check to see if they had these tools. It indicated they had a lot of them in stock. To find the best paper punches, you need to find a large store that has a large variety. I found this in Walmart. This is a 3-in-1 corner punch. Honestly, AC Moore had the best choices for all types of people. Visually impaired, sighted, because they had guides. I don't know if this one has one. And then here's the back, showing you what kind of punches it makes. But these are very helpful in punching the corner of your document so you know which way is up. And you can find these in hobby or craft stores. But when I got there, they only had like 1 or 2 styles. Another thing is, you can always take a scissor, like I'm gonna do here, and you can do it by just grabbing your paper. I'm gonna take the upper right-hand corner for me, and I'm going to just clip it. So you still can get a slant. You can do it with a scissor. You can also round your corner with a scissor, but if you can hardly see or not at all, I wouldn't try it. Another thing, when you're clipping your corner, sometimes you can cut off some information there. And I noticed when I had a bunch of papers and I go and snip it with my scissor, the first page is okay because sometimes it starts like 2 inches down or even 3. I don't know why some people start their correspondence so low. And then when you go to the second page, which starts at the top, maybe you snipped a couple of words on the side there. So I stopped using that and I went to the press, which is this tool here. And there are all kinds. Here's an example of multiple sheets. I took 2 sheets of braille stiff paper, stapled them together, and that's in the upper left-hand corner where most of us today in the United States will get stapled papers. When they staple them, they're generally found in the upper left-hand corner. Some people staple it in the middle. Some people staple it on the right if they have a landscape document. You can find it anywhere. Another thing is, here's the staple. This is the front where it's nice and smooth. You usually find that on the front. Now here's the back where it splits in half because the left and right side of the staple breaks in the middle and kind of curves inward to the paper. And that is the back. And you'll feel two humps, one on the left, one on the right. In the real world, that's how it's supposed to look. But some people staple it backwards. I get mail like that all the time where, I don't know, maybe they were holding the stapler wrong, or maybe that's their style. By me rounding my corner or doing any of those, clipping, rounding, slanting, whatever you want to call it, I sometimes clip off some information because they stapled it in the wrong place. When I open my mail, I take it out of the envelope very carefully so I can make sure I clip, cut, or round the correct corner. But sometimes that cannot be helped because people don't follow the postage rules. They'll put the paper in there upside down. I've even had an envelope, it's a window envelope, and the address was upside down, and they still sent it to me that way. That's not always foolproof, but for the most part, it does work. If you take it out, sometimes your address will be at the bottom or on the lower left. Sometimes it's on the lower right, and your paper may be bent up like the bottom's pointing to you, and then the top is folding away from you. So it's like a Z. That's how they fold it. I don't know why they do that. So you just got to follow the direction when you take it out the envelope. If your address is down at the bottom, focus on that. Make sure it stays upright as you take it out of the envelope, and then you'll know which edge you can staple. Because sometimes if it's just 2 or 3 sheets, I'll staple it. Because sometimes they just put in the envelope all separate and they're not stapled at all. So maybe they're trying to save staples. Maybe they figure if there's mailing out 1,000 of them, maybe it gets too heavy with the staple. I don't know what that's about, but I try to stick to one system. So I'll staple my document, and this way I don't have to worry about rounding or clipping the corner. And when I do that still, sometimes I may just round the first page so I know that's where it starts. Why do I do that? Because if it's backwards or upside down or it's a landscape document, I always know which page is first because the first one would be different from the rest of them. The first one would have a curve or a slant, and the rest won't. They'll have all 4 of their corners intact. That's how I do that. Whatever can turn up and be confusing for me to scan, then I'll just round the corner or clip it or put a slant in it, whatever I'm using. Right now, I'm doing the rounded corners. Then from there, I can take my labeling slate and I can put it on the page. And I usually do the opposite corner. I'll sit it on the paper. I take my labeling slate. I take my paper. Let's say I processed this already. So here is my rounded edge. What I'm going to do, we won't pay attention to the slant that I just clipped off for your viewing pleasure. I take my labeling slate. I make sure the dots are in the front. Because when I braille it, I want to make sure I'll be able to read it from the front. You can do whatever. Count your letters and put it there. It's up to you. You can do a .6 so it will be capped. And you can spell PHONE or whatever. And then when you turn it around and take the labeling slate off, you'll see phone spelled here in braille. And then what I do is pile them up in my end box, and then when I'm ready to do some filing, I can just read them and put them in my file. Usually what I do is put them in alphabetical order so I can just go through the drawer once. I think it's an easy system. When you want to sharpen them, you can just put your aluminum foil into your tool, which I'm going to show right here. They still feel sharp. But you can take your choice of folding it in half and sticking it up in the guide like so and pressing it. Or you can just do it like this. Just stick it in the slot and press it down. But it will get caught. So I guess the best way is the correct way, which is feed it into the guide there and then press down the button. So I have all kinds of things in here for my canes. Here's another little one. I don't know where the packaging went for that. But you can get all kinds of stamps or cutters. And like I mentioned, I just decorate my canes for the occasion. I have a little braille container and I keep this stuff in there, which is a glue stick, a stylus, a scissor. The scissors I have in there have a cap on it. And I keep a roll of tape for my labeling slate. The labeling slate, that's what I keep in that container. You can also get these that have the catcher on the bottom. These don't have it because I went cheap. But you can get more expensive ones. For $5, it makes my life easier. Why not? See, me, I don't like to waste my time. And I don't like to do things twice. So if I have to scan something, I want to be able to come back, pick up where I left off, and continue on. Because I get so many interruptions in my life. I could be doing one thing and get called off to do another. So I don't want to get back in and be like, oh man, maybe I did 30 letters or pieces of paper and then I got to go back to them. That's what I don't like. It makes the job drab. So I figured I would share that little tip with anyone that was interested. And that will do for this one. If this is your first time here, please go and check out the channel. There are a lot of helpful videos on it. Feel free to subscribe and join the fam. We'd love to have you. And to the rest of the fam, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you again in the next one.
Scene changes to a mountain scene backdrop. Rolling credits appear in big bold text scrolling upward from the bottom of the screen. Text reads, Anita, hostess/visionary. Mountain stream video, TM symbol, videographer/editor. The rest of the text may be read in the description box below. Thanks for watching.